Hi guys, it's Laura, and today is your lucky day, as you could see if I cock up not just one but 5 different designs in this video. It is so close to Christmas now, and I've been meaning to try this design since I first started to admit that yes, it's nearly Christmas. I've learned a lot of different techniques, and I'm not sure which would be best for me and my skill level in painting Christmas trees on my nails. I started with a peel-off base coat for easy removal in case I went a little overboard later with the glitter, or I just messed up enough to warrant a total redo of a design. I did some legit planning before attempting these designs, and as part of that I planned out what colour was going to go where. So my next step was to paint each nail the right background colour. Is it really bad that I notice a big improvement in just how steady and neatly I can get my polish on my nails ever since I got my new glasses? Maybe should have done that a bit sooner. Because I had done some planning, I was preparing for 2 ways that these nails could go. 1, I could do them entirely with nail polish, or 2, I could do them with a mixture of nail polish and acrylics. By putting a top coat on here, I kept that option open in case at some point in these designs I decided to use the acrylics after all. Because when you put acrylic paint on top of a glossy top coat, it scrapes off. So that if you mess up your design or you need to neaten an edge, it's so much easier to do so. I started with my freehand attempt, in which I tried to make a Christmas tree with just regular nail polishes and the brushes that they came with. Although as you can see I'm using a nail art brush, because after actually trying it with just the brushes that came with the polish, I realised it was tougher than I thought. I started with the largest layer of the tree at the base and gradually worked up in layers of the tree until I reached a satisfying point. I tried to alternate between 2 different green polishes to give some depth to the image, but the colours are so similar I don't feel it actually helps much at all. And rather than decorations or complexity, I went simple with this tree and just put a bit of glittery polish on top of the green tree to give it that Christmas magic and sparkle. I cut my masking tape down into very thin segments and reduced the amount of tackiness it had by pulling it off and on my clothes over and over again. I didn't want to risk the tackiness being strong enough to pull my polish off. The next plan was to use regular masking tape as a guide to make my triangle tree shape and then jazz it up with extra glittery and shiny goodness. Placing them was a little bit tricky for my wobbly sausage fingers, but once they were in place I put on some green polish and immediately pulled the tape off before the polish had a chance to dry. This helps to give it a really clean and sharp line. Because I had found out that the 2 greens I owned were not different enough to help with adding extra dimension and details to my nails, I decided to try adding snow to my tree instead, using a sort of dry brushing technique I'd seen. I used a nail art brush dipped in some white polish, then I used my official Christmas quality street lid to brush off most of the polish, which let me brush over the Christmas tree in a way that looks like snow had landed gently on the branches. I was gifted this selection of gems and had been dying for an excuse to try them out, so I felt that the tree needed a really big bright star on top of it. Using a dab of clear polish, I stuck the star on top of the tree, and it was so much larger when on my nail than it had seemed in the pot. I figured I'd keep it though. Big or not, it looks really festive. The trick I was planning to use for my next nail involved bringing the background colour back to the forefront of the design as if it were tinsel on a Christmas tree. I needed to use striping tape for this because I needed really thin straight lines. And to save efforts with sticky wet nails afterwards, I pre-cut all of my striping tape and stuck it on top of a pot of nail polish remover so it was easy in to hand for when I needed it. But I am nearly out of striping tape. I only had red left, which was really tricky to see on the glittery red background. Now, I always keep my nails super duper short because I occasionally dabble in stringed instruments. So I only had room for 2 rows of tinsel on my very short nail. If your nails are longer though, you'll probably get way more on than me. Once all the striping tape was in place, I took my green polish and painted really, really carefully inside this triangle, trying not to go over the edges. And while the polish was still wet, I took each bit of striping tape and peeled it away. By doing this when it's wet, it leaves a really neat line, just like with the masking tape before. After peeling off the striping tape and letting the pattern dry fully, I took some hollow glitter and a cuticle stick, and after applying a clear coat, I placed little bits of glitter all over my tree to be like baubles. I really, really like how this one turned out, especially with the glitter placement as well. I think if the tree was much bigger, it maybe wouldn't have worked as effectively, but for the size it is and the size of the glitter, I think it works really well. The next way we're going to try and put a Christmas tree on another nail is with a stamping plate and a stamper, and special proper legit stamping polish even. Now this video is running way too long already, but there were many fail attempts before I actually managed to transfer the image properly from the plate to the stamper. I really was very pleased with myself for eventually getting the stamping working on that nail, but I felt that even with this great achievement behind it, it still looked a little bit plain, and those gems from earlier were still twinkling in the corner of my eye. So I had to go a bit overboard and use some of them. For the record, I don't know what this is meant to be, whether it's the ground, or presents, or baubles, or decapitated Rudolph heads all lined up so the noses are facing towards us at the screen. I just don't know! But it looks pretty. For my final design, I wanted to try and make a Christmas tree out of dots, using my dotting tool. But if you don't have a dotting tool, like we learnt from the Kate Loves DIY channel, you can use a bobby pin. Again, I tried using the 2 different greens and it didn't work still. I was considering leaving gaps between each of the dots to really show it being dotty, but an overload of polish changed my mind for me by smudging out. Once the green layer was dry, I picked up the smaller end of my dotting tool and using some gold and some red polish, I dotted decorations on my tree. And even an extra blob at the top for my star, which is round. Stars are round, right? When all the designs were done, I applied a final glossy quick drying top coat to every single one of them, and I was done! I think out of all of them, the red background with the striping tape was my favourite. I think I like the way it looks the best, and I like the way it's done best as well. Because I did these designs with a peel off base coat, I'm going to take off all the other ones, probably by the time this video is uploaded, and we'll paint them all in that same red and green design with the glitter placement. I've really enjoyed making today's video. I was a little bit overly ambitious with trying to make them flashing lights happen in the corner. It was a source of woe and stress because I'm still learning, but someday I'm going to figure out how all this works and my videos will stop looking shit. I hope you've enjoyed doing my nails with me today. If you want to have a go at any of them, please do. Please show me. I would love to see anyone that's done their nails because they've been inspired by me at all. That makes me so happy. But yeah, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you subscribe, I promise I will keep making weird little videos like this for you. Okay, bye.